On the show today, we discuss any dream you want. Just call us on 425-373-5527. We tell you what having an affair in your dream means. And as always, we interpret the dreams you sent in during the week. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. I'm Michael Sheridan, and with me in studio today is our resident medium, Heidi Brooke.
Hello.
Do you prefer to be called medium or channel?
Either or.
Just not too early. I had a great vacation, and I have to say a huge thank you to Susan and Heidi for holding the fort in my absence. I listened to both shows live from Ireland. That makes it a real busman's holiday, but it is very different being on the other side of the mic. I didn't know whether to panic or relax, so I did a bit of both, but both shows went great. In fact, the topic on last week's show, Dreams of Departed Loved Ones, opened the floodgates and lots of people called in, but too late to make it on air. So if you have a question, call us now on 425-373-5527. I think you were having too much fun, though, because it wasn't lost on me that Eric had trouble getting Susan to close the show both times. He'll bring a bishop's hook into the studio next time I'm away. My holiday was too short, though. 6 weeks would have been more to my liking. Great to see family, but also great to visit Newgrange again. It's one of Ireland's many Stone Age sites and was built 5,200 years ago. That'll cause a problem for some listeners. It's not even the oldest one in Ireland, but it's definitely one of the best known. I put pictures of Newgrange up on our Facebook page. I know it's not dreams, but the show and our title are about waking up to reality beyond the physical, and visiting Irish Stone Age sites were an early step on my journey to awakening. What started me off was suddenly seeing auras and spirits. At the time I didn't believe in either, but they were there with complete disregard for my non-belief. I couldn't go from atheism to believing in spirits so easily, even though I could now see them, so I took a slow detour by focusing on physical things, and that included examining Irish Stone Age sites. This is easy to do because Ireland has a rich tapestry of myth and legend, and these sites are often found in places named in the folklore. So it was interesting to visit them and wonder about the fantastic stories connected with the places. I've been so lucky in my life, though. Early on, I met an Englishman named Michael Pointer who devoted decades to researching and understanding these sites. After many years, he discovered dowsing, and dowsing unlocked their secrets for him. I was fortunate enough to do a dowsing course with Michael, and as a part of it, to douse Newgrange with a spiral on the curbstone to bring the energy back into alignment. During a break, he offered to program a rose quartz crystal for another attendee. She happened to be wearing it, and he said, that's where he commented on the crystal because he's big into crystals. That was his big thing, dowsing what they did. And he commented on it and said it was lovely, and what was it doing for her? And she said, I just bought it. It's doing blah, blah, blah for me, whatever a rose quartz crystal is meant to do. Have I just offended people? It means I don't know, not that you don't know. And he said, no, it's not, unless you've done something to make it do that. That might be its normal properties.
But program the crystals.
Yeah. Unless it's programmed, it's not doing anything. So he says, here, I'll program it for you. And I was looking at it. He took it and he put it in his hand, held it in his hand, and he just closed his eyes, but continued talking to her the whole time, telling her what he was doing. And I was looking at his aura to see if anything strange would happen, and was stunned by what I saw. His crown chakra opened up, a pillar of light shot up from it and went up 4 more chakras. I didn't even know that we had chakras beyond the 7th, but it was obvious that's what they were, because that's what they looked like. It stayed there the whole time he worked on the crystal and talked to her. It then moved back just as fast, really fast, in a split second. He opened his eyes immediately, handed the crystal back to the woman, and then said, this will be hot for a few days. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen up until that time. And he explained what he saw to me afterwards, but I couldn't do him justice. He said he went to the causal plane, and then somebody tried to argue with him about whether that was possible or not, and only Sai Baba can do it. And he said, actually, it was Sai Baba taught me how to do it.
That must have made them quiet real quick.
But anyway, I could see auras. I was skeptical. Still, I'm skeptical. That's my nature. I could see auras, so I could see what happened. So for me, it was just fantastic. Michael Pointer was a practice genius. He's departed now. He didn't just know about things. He also knew how to do them. But it does make you think about what these structures do and what would happen if they were reactivated. There are many, and some are still active but dampened. Newgrange, by the way, is the one that only lets sunlight in on the winter solstice. I've put a brief description of that on our Facebook page too. I'd love to talk about that, but you're here to hear about dreams. So let's get back to exactly that. Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to RadioShow at dream-analysis.com or to us through Facebook. You can get our contact details and archives of our previous shows on dream-analysis.com. Please continue to send them in, as we always need them for the show. If you've had a recent dream or one that has stuck with you over the years, call us on 425-373-5527 and we will tell you what it means today. And that'll be the end of you being in pain. You can also call with questions for Heidi. She can channel information from your guides or loved ones who have passed on. The number again, 425-373-5527. So, Heidi, you're going to start with the dream.
So this dream is from Nan in Chicago. She starts off just saying that she found the website quite by accident. So she was delighted when she discovered the radio show. And the dream's title is called The Piano Player. I am in a recording studio. A child of about 5 or 6 years old is playing the piano. He is dressed in a shimmering sequin jacket, and he is wearing a large dark sunglasses. He plays the piano beautifully and his hands are very graceful.
Okay, so immediately we have a wonderful sense from this dream. The pianist is a guide because he has a title, and as always, guides show you what your abilities are in the dream, i.e. they guide you. The dreamer is a channel because they can play music, but they are also a healer. Healing is symbolized by the sunglasses and the graceful hands. However, it is the word graceful that gives us the most wonderful sense, as it means the dreamer is herself graceful. I particularly love the two symbols of being from the light. The first we see is the shimmering sequin jacket. Just think about how that would look. The second is the sunglasses, but the two together nail it. The recording studio answers a question that the dreamer must have asked recently. Do I have a life purpose? And yes, you do. You're here to channel messages that will be recorded to reach the masses. The gracefulness emphasizes the skill level you can reach in channeling. The reference to 5 or 6 shows that it is your path. You will either, through karma, given by the number 5, and you can refer to our earlier show on karma that's in the archives at dream-analysis.com, but you have the choice to move onto the dharmic path, which is also given by the number 6. Dharma is living in a state of grace, so this connects beautifully with the use of that word in the dream. Wow, what a lot packed into the first tiny part of a dream.
He wants me to sing with him. He gives me a piece of paper. I look at it and I sing the words, "Down the old green road." Then I feel a sense of panic because there are no other words on the paper. I ask him for the other verses and he stands up. I notice he has the face of an older man, but I know he is a child.
I find that part quite funny. Start off with great enthusiasm and then bam. No surprise here, your guide wants you to channel him. The paper he gives you tells you that you've done this before, down the old green road. That's always good to see in a dream. It means despite your sense of panic about channeling, subconscious panic because subconsciously you know what you've agreed to do, green tells you to work through your heart chakra, so more female energy please. Shout down to the engine room to stoke the fires. The face is about facing the future. Being a child is pretty clear. You've got this skill. You brought it with you as a child. Indeed, you brought a wisdom that is still beyond your years. Access to it is by being fresh with a childlike sense of wonder in your approach. It is common to see dreams show your connection being far stronger in early years. If you could get into a time machine, your younger self could help you unlock a few things. Oh yes, you can. Your memory. You've got a time machine. So when we see this type of wisdom in a dream, it means you, the dreamer, come across supposedly New Age stuff, it is more like it unlocks your memories of it rather than educates you. Specific information will just resonate with you and give you butterflies because of the joy of being reacquainted with what you previously knew.
I look at his hands and he was wearing 3 bright, brilliant diamond rings on each hand. These diamonds are so bright that they hurt my eyes. It is hard to look at them because they almost blind me. He hands me a card, but there are no words written on the card. The card has symbols on it, symbols I have never seen before, and I don't know what these symbols mean. He starts playing the piano again. His hands look magical, moving across the keys. I still feel anxious about not having the other verses to the song.
Okay, so the 3 bright diamonds on each hand again tell us you're a channel because of 2 sets of 3, but also show the precious nature of your gift. This really pushes you to commit to using your gifts. The brightness being so emphasized tells us that you have hands of light, another reference to your healing ability. If you haven't read the book Hands of Light by Barbara Ann Brennan, then go get it and read it now. It's, I suppose, the Bible on the subject. Now to the cryptic piece, the symbols on the cards. You can't read them because you've never seen them before. This is similar to how you don't have the other verses to the song. That's how it is. You don't know what you're going to channel in advance. Even when you do know the subject, you don't know the words that will be transmitted. Clearly, you have to get into a space where you can channel information you are not familiar with because the message you are here to get are not a regurgitation of what has come before. The strange symbols indicate an ancient wisdom will be passed to you from your guide. Indeed, he handed you the card with the symbols on it after all. Right now, you may feel that this interpretation is not for you, but trust me, it is, and in time you'll realise it.
I wake up, but I can still hear the melody.
And that's from Nan in Chicago. We should start saying where we're getting the dreams and questions from, because we're getting them from all over the world. It's quite interesting, really.
Yes.
So channeling comes up a lot, and I had some other stuff I was going to mention before, but have you any ideas why it comes up so much?
In dreams?
Yeah.
Because I think, especially in our Western society, we tend to dampen the abilities, our spiritual abilities, or our society tells us it's not acceptable. And I think it's a way of making it acceptable to highlight that you have these gifts and why aren't you using them? You're not just a physical body.
Yeah, and I think it's also the people who are interested in this show and are sending dreams already fall into the demographic where they're going to be encouraged to develop their spiritual gifts. You know, it's just going to be the way it is. So we have another really short one.
So this is from Susan. We had papers in 2 dreams already.
She says, a friend of mine dreamt that he was handed some papers by me. And this is something that we talked about before the show. And it's not our Susan, it's another Suzanne.
Suzanne, that's it.
Just so you know. But this dream is more about serving papers on somebody. The reference to the dreams about 2 papers before was from previous shows where we had this one lined up to use it, but not for today. Do you get any more on that particular one? Because, Heidi, because it was you who said it was specifically about serving papers.
Just as I'm sitting here, they're telling me that it's about that they're not following their life path. And so they're being served papers.
It's interesting in dreams. Signatures, or having to write your signature in a dream, is very common. But it's common around a time when you're being shown what you've agreed to, the paper you've signed before you got permission to come to the life and use up a body, so to speak.
So a gentle reminder.
Sometimes not such a gentle reminder. It's a kick in the proverbial. And but you know, it's always a case of once you start doing these things, whatever it is you're here to do, it'll make sense to you, and you'll be glad you do it. I've never met anybody who's been sorry. I've met people who are apprehensive at the start, but work past that apprehension, and things really work out great. So this one is definitely one you could do. This person says, I hope you don't mind me asking, but my friend's daughter Jane has shared her dream with us today that she's had 4 times in a row. She is somewhere in her dream, and out of the blue she gets shot in her lower back, at which point she wakes up.
So this one I was channeling on it before we came into the studio, and being that it's not the person who sent the dream, but it's about her friend's daughter. And for her friend's daughter, this means that in a past life, it's about a past life and how she is healing her life now, this lifetime. Being shot in the back, referring to the past.
Yes, yeah, symbolically that works there.
And I also like the term out of the blue, because blue is a healing colour, so it is significant even in that short dream description we're given. But
she doesn't tell us what happens previously in the dream, but just out of the blue gets this. And it reminds me, I had dreams like that. I was working on my elimination system, trying to figure out what I needed to cut out of my diet, because I had lots of dreams about cancer and really serious issues with my elimination system. And I don't know whether it's worse when you can interpret dreams and you see them in your own. But this is something never to be worried about if you do see a symbol of cancer in your dreams, because your dreams come so far in advance, decades in advance of anything manifesting, that you've got plenty of time to change what you're doing, and then you're not going to develop it. But in my dream anyway, I was flushing a chocolate eclair. I saw what they're called here, chocolate eclair, that was cream filled, down a toilet. And, of course, I would never do that in reality. I'd wolf it down. But I'm looking at it swirling around in the toilet as the water is turning brown and it's going down the toilet. And I'm thinking in the dream, I'm kind of semi-lucid, and I'm saying, oh, I'm to quit dairy. And it was just like somebody scratched the record and the dream froze and stopped and says, a guide says, it's chocolate, you fool. And I thought that was quite an interesting way for my guide to say it. But anyway, I'm looking right at it, and even in the title, chocolate, Claire. So they were telling me
loud and clear there.
Yes, but it's kind of like that movie with Steve Martin where the pictures are turning, the earth is shaking, everything is happening, and he's saying, "Give me a sign if I'm meant to not do this." Of course, he wants to do it. So.
You're just overlooking it. Chocolate was too important.
Yes, absolutely, it still is. So we have another dream. I'm looking at this. There's a lot in here. I'll read it out, and you can tell us what it's about. She says, I had a dream about saving my niece and nephew from drowning. We're on a bridge, and an old school friend that I don't see or speak to was there, and her little girl jumped off the bridge. I immediately jumped into the water to save her. She doesn't say that. When I was in the water, the little girl was then my niece. My nephew jumped off the bridge next to me. He thought it was a game. It's the kind of thing he'd do as he thinks he's invincible. I was then struggling to keep them both above the water, but got them out in the end. Then I was on a raft. My nephew wasn't breathing. Suddenly my aunt, whom I don't speak to, was there saying he's faking it. I did mouth to mouth anyway, angry at her dismissal, and saved him. And she gives a little bit of a background. I don't know if you want me to cover it, but it was about she has ideas or thoughts lately that she needs to do something to help her nephew.
Yes, and so this is actually a dream where she's being given a message directly from her nephew on the astral planes. Her nephew is contacting her, and she's getting the message, and her guides and her higher self are facilitating the message in the dream. So her nephew has a form of ADHD, or several forms rather, with autistic tendencies, which she does tell us. But also the dream is telling her that her nephew is looking for her to help him.
Right.
That he doesn't indeed have ADHD, but the medications he's been given is giving him these tendencies. He's just a very sensitive boy, and he's a little different, and you'll see that in a lot of children coming into the world, especially very young children that are being born today, because they're more in tune with the light, they're more sensitive, and so they're being misdiagnosed, and this is actually what's happening with her nephew. And she does have the ability to help her nephew, and now I'm not entirely sure to what capacity. Maybe she could talk to her brother or sister, the child's parents, and say, this is the information I have.
Of course, she has a problem here because she says she doesn't talk to to the mother anymore. Yeah,
so this is probably, maybe she needs to make a breakthrough in order to help that nephew.
So it could indeed be a karmic thing, because you've got to deal with something before you can help the nephew, and you're clearly being told to help the nephew.
And the problem with these medications, or at least the guides say, is that when you take it for a prolonged period of time, that's when you start to have brain issues, when you can't reverse it. And then, of course, you will have a diagnosis. But the important thing is he's saying he is invincible, but he's taking these medications and he's not going to be able to fulfill his life purpose.
So the invincible implies like he's a superhero.
Yeah. And you're drowning it out. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I will also say saving somebody from drowning at sea can also be about an astral activity of helping people cross the astral plane, but it's not in this case. And that's the problem with dream interpretation, but I suppose it keeps me in a paying job. Symbols can mean different things, and you have to look at the whole dream in context and make sure that you've got all the symbols and they all marry together and point to the same subject, and that keeps you honest with the analysis.
Yes.
So it's still easy to do. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a few moments. Have you had a puzzling dream, a nightmare, or a dream that has stayed with you since childhood? Michael Sheridan here. If you're a regular listener to my show, and I sincerely hope you are, you have a good idea of the valuable advice your dreams give on relationships, career, life purpose, and much more. But what you hear on the show just barely scratches the surface compared to what you get with a full analysis. Treat yourself by having your dream fully analysed. The recorded analysis you receive is typically 20 to 35 minutes long. Go to dream-analysis.com for more. There's even a discount for KKNW listeners, and you don't even have to tell me that I sent you.
Are you wondering about your path in life? Do you have the sense there's something you're here on earth to do, but you're not sure what that could be? Maybe you've had a major change in your life recently, and you're asking yourself, what's next for me? I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts, and I believe that each of us comes to this lifetime for a reason. Not only do we come with a specific aim for our life, we also bring with us special gifts that help us to make our unique contribution. Now is the time for you to discover your gifts and your life purpose. Now is the time for you to realize your true radiance. Find me on the web at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Ryder, Operations Manager for Alternative Talk 1150. We value your opinion and invite you to visit 1150kknw.com to fill out our 2015 listener survey. Your responses help us shape Alternative Talk 1150 to your listening needs. As a bonus, just by filling out the survey, you'll be entered to win a trip for two to beautiful Victoria, BC. Complete contest details and your opportunity to help us shape this station can be found at 1150kknw.com.
This is Alternative Talk 1150. Got it? Cool.
Welcome back. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams and their meanings, and our phone number is 425-373-5527 if you have any questions for Heidi or a dream for me. So, Eric, should I be panicked about the listener survey there? You said it's going to help them shape the station. Could I get fired?
No need to panic.
Do I need to tell people to do the survey and tick our show that they listen to it?
That would be great. We'd love to have your listeners fill out the survey and indicate that they listen to the show and about their other likes and stuff like that. Just trying to find out a little bit about them. Maybe what kind of pets they have. What kind of employment they have, and this just all helps us. Figure out who's the best advertisers for the shows. What kind of topics we should be covering on the station, and just as a thank you for filling out the survey, you get entered into a drawing for a trip to Victoria, BC. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I want to go there.
So do I.
It's actually on my list. Of course, everything's on my list. It's all new to me still. So, okay. So we'll do another dream here, and then we will do the symbol for today.
Okay. So the title of this dream is "Someone Else Had a Baby in Driver's Seat." A woman I went to elementary school with and who is now very into male activities like hunting and animal farming was driving a pickup truck and the seats were filled. I was in the back seat. We started getting pulled over by police and she became full of dread because she'd been holding my baby while she drove. I thought of having her pass the baby back to me so I could put her back in the car seat, but there wasn't enough time and we'd be seen by the police trying to get away with that. She had this dream while starting week 2 of cutting the ties with her mother. Okay,
again, I like that dream. I mean, those sort of things I think is kind of funny. She's trying to get away with something and hoping the police in the dream won't see her. So it reveals a lot when you see that in somebody's dream. Anyway, it's great to see so many people sending us dreams who are following their advice, that's the dream's advice, and dealing with the issues they raise. This dream is from one such person. When doing a therapy, your dreams reveal what the therapy is working on so that they can seem more extreme, but this is what you want to see when doing your therapy. By watching your dreams, you can also tell when the therapy has begun to stick and when it has achieved its purpose. This dreamer is cutting the ties with her mother and still in the early days of it, at least at the time of this dream. And the dream, by careful selection of the school friend, shows her that she is too male, just like her friend. Remember that this is what the therapy is working on, so we're happy to see this in the dream. Bringing her back to elementary school and the child out of the car seat set the timeline of the dream. The police pulling her over and the dread that goes with it is normal enough. The police symbolise her guides, and the dread, although unfounded, comes from an incorrect sense of reprimand for not adhering to her life purpose. Guides just don't do that. We put pressure on ourselves, and that is what is showing up in the dream. So now the dream makes sense. The point of the therapy is to take control of childhood issues. The friend holding the baby in the front seat shows that the dreamer is currently carrying issues from childhood. Putting the baby back in the back of the car, in the car seat, would have been great to do while in the dream. Not doing it out of fear tells us that the dreamer, although in therapy, is still reluctant to do this work, reluctant to properly take care of the baby, her childhood issues. The process will overcome that fear in just a few days. Being seen by the police trying to get away with it, as the dreamer says, is funny. You can be assured your guides are well aware of everything you are doing and have done. They will be overjoyed that you are now doing this work on yourself. Indeed, contact from the guides like this in your dream is good, so you can ignore your fear as just coming from you and not warranted. They are here to help and are showing you that they are around, so be sure to ask for that help. In summary, the dream shows the therapy is causing you to recognize the need to take care of your childhood issues. The realization will soon be followed by actually taking care of them. Working on mother issues will open your heart and remove your male approach, which will allow you to achieve your goals. Driving in the car is striving towards your goals, which was really the subject of the dream. So it's saying it's going to help you achieve your goals. Okay, so I said I was going to cover what an affair means in a dream, and I just thought I'd throw that one in because it's kind of funny, out of place. People go, ooh, I wonder if people are afraid to share those dreams. Not in person, they're not. Actually, that's one thing that I do find people are great at when they send in the dreams. They do give a good background and they're open and honest about what's going on in their lives. And that really helps give us better context. Sometimes I get people that don't want to give anything and then they will tell us after the show. And I've often wondered, should we read some of those out after the show when they relate the analysis to what went on? Maybe we should do that, have a section for that. But we're always running out of time. So anyway. So if you're having an affair in a dream, you are being asked to get intimately in touch with your male side if you're having an affair with a man, or your female side if the affair is with a woman. Having an affair with a person of the same gender means the same thing. We all have male and female aspects to ourselves, which have their own unique traits. For example, compassion, listening, leadership, and your philosophy of life work through your female energy. Confidence, belief in yourself, feeling worthy of the space you occupy, career, ambition, sex drive, and spiritual healing work through your male energy. The dream may be triggered due to an imbalance which is affecting your ability to develop or move forward in any aspect of your life. To dream of your partner having an affair is not a prediction or confirmation. It merely means that your dream is trying to get you to work through your feelings for your partner. It can be triggered if you had or considered an affair in this or in a previous relationship. In fact, that's true of a lot of things. Even the subjects we talk about can be very revealing about what's in our mind. So if I talk about affairs, then I probably am thinking about it. Not me, of course, no.
Just in general.
Yeah, other people. So what will we do now? I have a couple of dreams from last week that we have the audio recorded for, so I'm going to read one of those out now, if I can find it. This one is called My Eagle Friend. I'm at Paradise Mountain at Mount Rainier, and I'm walking on a trail towards the summit. Ahead of me is a very large eagle. When he is standing on the ground, his head reaches up past my waist. We walk along the trail for a bit together, and then he jumps into the air and grabs me by the shoulders, and we fly together. I look at my shoulders and see that his talons are in my flesh, but I don't feel any pain. He flies in a spiral, holding me above Mount Rainier for a bit before letting me go. I don't sink to the ground, but begin flying next to him. We continue flying and begin heading southeast. I am a little uncomfortable because I am not a fan of Texas, and we're flying to Texas. We end up in Austin, or a place I have visited and like, and land and are walking around the town. I am glad to have his company as we walk along the streets, and I put my arm around him. Okay, so here's the analysis, pre-recorded. This will be weird. My Eagle Friend. I wanted to include this dream because it's one of two dreams from people who are currently cutting the ties, and they both reference paradise. And straight away, when somebody's cutting the ties and you see paradise coming up in their dreams, that's a fantastic sign, because it says what you're doing is bringing you in that direction. So here in this dream, she's at paradise right at the start. Now that says that's where she's going. It doesn't mean that's right where she is, but she's already starting to feel the benefits of cutting the ties with her dad in this case. And the dream, of course, is references males. The eagle is male. Now, an eagle represents a prophetic ability. That's an ability to tell the future, predict the future. Not a lot of people have it. A lot of people think they have it because they can get information from their guides that tells them what's going to happen in the future. But this is quite different. It works through female energy. It works the same way as your intuition would work. And with it, you would think of something that you want to do or something somebody else wants to do, and you would instinctively know how it's going to work out. For some people, it might just be a strong, avoid that at all costs. And that's fine because it tells you what to do. But that's how it works. And other people, they'll know exactly why it won't work. So for some people, they can tell what won't happen. For other people, they can tell what will happen. It doesn't matter what way it works. You just have to learn which way it works for you. Maybe you can do both. But it is such a practical thing because it's a constant companion, always telling you this is a good idea or that's a bad idea. But this dreamer doesn't respect her prophetic ability. And I was kind of surprised at that. Most people I've come across that have this ability think it's really cool, but they don't necessarily like what they get with it, and they kind of suppress it because they have been told things that in their dreams that they didn't like knowing somebody's death in advance. Now, that knowing it in advance is not a problem. It's actually trying to tell you, hey, there's more to life than just the physical. Otherwise, how could you possibly know these things? So it should help deal with the fact that somebody has died, as opposed to make it harder to deal with. And once people know that, it's easy to get over it. But she doesn't respect this ability. So we're working on pushing that one to say, look, you've got to respect it. You've got to accept that this is something that's very good. And in her case, she just doesn't really see the practical value of it. So it's going to keep hitting her in her dreams. Anyway, she's walking along a trail towards the summit. So we know she's on the way, but she's on the way up the hill. So she's still got the difficult path ahead of her, or the difficult piece of the path ahead of her, but nearly there. And it's taken her to paradise already, so that's fantastic. The eagle is very large, so it's saying, look, we want you to use this in your life more than you're currently using it. Expand it in your life. That's what the very large is about. His head reaches up past her waist, so he's very big, so it's fine. We walk along the trail for a bit together. He jumps into the air, grabs me by the shoulders, and we fly together. Now, this is really good, but he sinks his talons into her shoulders. And this is one of the big things for her. So she has lots of animals come along. They almost always place their paws, if it's a tiger or other land animal, place their paws on her shoulders. And in this case, when it's the eagle, they sink their talons into the shoulders. And she's saying she doesn't feel any pain, but of course that does not make sense. There has to be pain when you feel that. So that means she's carrying pain that she has numbed herself from. And as it turns out, she was abused by a male friend of the family when she was younger. And she didn't tell her parents for many years, didn't tell her parents because he was a close friend of the family. But it comes up in her dreams frequently with these animals putting their paws on her shoulders. And the whole idea of it is to show her that she has difficulty still, even though she's dealt with it to a degree, she still has difficulty with intimacy when it comes to men and getting that close. And this affects, of course, she's cutting the ties with her father, but this also affects her career and other male energy affected things in her life. And the career is really where she wants, and confidence in herself is what she really wants to get out of cutting the ties here. So by showing this, by showing that she's carrying the pain and suppresses the pain, more to the point, it's saying, look, you've got to bring this up, you've got to deal with this, let it come out as part of cutting the ties process. And when you feel this pain, or more importantly, when the animals in your dreams stop digging their
paws or talons into your shoulder when they allow you get on their back, or whatever way you're going to go with them, but they're not just going to drag you and lift you up that way. That's going to show serious progress in the dream state, and that's what we would look for in these dreams. But anyway, it's saying this has to be dealt with. He flies off in a spiral, holding me above Mount Rainier. Now, going in a spiral is a good thing in a dream. It's always positive, especially when it's a spiritual ability like the eagle represents. Like I said before, though, the eagle should be female in this dream, so we know then the issues with these events that went on in your life and issues around men hold you back from really respecting this ability, respecting the authority where that this ability comes from. You end up anyway, he lets you go, but you don't sink, and you begin flying. So this is really good. So it says not only do you have a prophetic ability, but you also have the ability to channel, and that's what flying with a guide represents. And of course, the eagle is a guide. And you fly south. I found it very interesting. You fly southeast, but flying south is about getting in touch with your heart. That's what you want to do. To use a female energy ability, but channeling works with both male and female energy, so it's okay as it is. You say you're not a big fan of Texas and you feel uncomfortable because you're flying there, but you end up in Austin, which is a place that you actually visited and like. So that's really good. So this tells us that with cutting the ties, you're not really sure where it's going to take you. You're doing it, but you don't really think it's going to bring you to a state, Texas being a state, that you're going to be that enamored with. But you're surprised in the dream that it brings you to a place you actually like, even though you thought you were going somewhere that you don't like. So it's saying you are going to go places with cutting the ties that is really going to be fantastic because of the paradise at the dream. It is going to alleviate this pain that you're carrying, that you've suppressed. But of course, to alleviate it, you've got to let it out, let it up, and feel it and express it. That's one of the magics things that cutting the ties does. It allows us to do this in a safe way, because it's so connected with our higher selves while we're doing it. Anyway, at the end of the dream, you put your arm around the eagle, which is really good. So we end up with an intimacy that is more peer-to-peer, and that's what we want. So an interesting dream, and I picked it mainly because it has paradise, and we have another dream coming up that shows a similar thing for somebody who's cutting the ties with her mom.
Okay, listen up, this is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on September 26th and 27th. Register at dream-analysis.com. St. John, New Brunswick, October 3rd and 4th.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the Force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favourite colour?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Are you feeling stuck? Are you trapped in the same old patterns of negativity, fear, or self-doubt? I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts, and I can help you to finally change those old patterns so you can move ahead at last. You may have already tried to change these patterns yourself, maybe with therapy, meditation, or sheer willpower. Certainly these can have benefits sometimes, but they don't always get to the root of what's holding you back. Now is the time for you to break free of the things that keep you stuck, so you can realize your true radiance. Find me on the web at true-radiance.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Ryder, Operations Manager for Alternative Talk 1150. We value your opinion and invite you to visit 1150kknw.com to fill out our 2015 listener survey. Your responses help us shape Alternative Talk 1150 to your listening needs. As a bonus, just by filling out the survey, you'll be entered to win a trip for two to beautiful Victoria, BC. Complete contest details and your opportunity to help us shape this station can be found at 1150kknw.com.
Negativity and fear, two staples of talk radio. Well, we figured we'd try something different. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams and their meanings, and our phone number is 425-373-5527 if you have any questions for Heidi or a dream for me. I never say it. I don't think I've ever said it on the show, but I do have an online course. I just leave it for people to find on the website. But I have an online course that's starting this weekend on Sunday. It pretty much covers everything that's on the in-person course, which I also have on the 26th and 27th of September. But if you're interested in that, feel free to go online, have a look at the details about the course. It is going ahead of enough people for it, but just out of curiosity, I realised I never actually mentioned it. Not very American of me. Things tend to be understated. So we'll have a look at another couple of dreams. Heidi, what's next?
And so this one is from Frances. She's just wondering what packing a snail in a dream. What does that mean?
Oh, okay. So the snail alone makes the dream about having a sluggish digestive system and moving too slowly through her body. And she needs to take something to speed it up, eat something that's going to speed it up. The packing fits in with this. You know, she says she's packing the snail in, but that fits in because when food is moved to, it's not so much about, that part is not so much about food moving too slowly, but that food is packed into her body. And this is typically saying food has caked onto the walls of her intestines rather than telling her that she ate one too many burgers last week. However, in both cases, the dream is asking her for a change in her diet.
So I'm noticing we get a lot of dreams about the digestive system. And I also have many dreams about my digestive system. How come that's such a common theme in dreams? Because
if you're eating foods that don't agree with you, your liver ends up, toxins build up on them in the digestive system. And you have to realise what happens when you drink a glass of water. It doesn't go from your stomach into your bloodstream. It goes from your stomach through your large intestine and from your large intestine into your bloodstream. And so any toxins that have built up on waste matter that's sitting there waiting to get processed and eliminated gets into the bloodstream, and your liver has to deal with it. So that's really the big thing. Your liver has to work overtime to keep you just ticking over, whereas trying to connect and do spiritual things or do things that require energy require your liver to be fairly cleansed. And we can hold an awful lot of waste matter in our bodies. Our colon can actually expand to 3 times its normal size. I don't know what biology courses are like in high school here, but I mean, it's there's probably not enough covered on, you know, how food really affects us so much. And then, of course, you can have an allergy to a particular food. So it might be just a case that you eat some food. So in my case, for instance, I'd have dreams. I love fresh bread, white sliced bread. And I'd have dreams about that if I eat too much, saying it's slowing your system down. And when my system slows down, there's a lot of foods I have to cut down in order to let it speed up again. So it might be one food is the trigger. So quite often it can take a little while for your system to heal and start speeding up again. But once it does, you can introduce a lot of foods, and there's only a few things then that you need to avoid and never eat. In my case, dairy is one. But even with that, even knowing that, I'll still go once in a while.
Every now and then.
I'm going to have a bowl of cornflakes or something. You know, on holidays, you seem to be let off the hook. If I'm on holidays, obviously you can't control what you're eating as much because you're restricted by whatever people hand you if you're staying over with somebody else, or what's ever available in that country where you're eating in restaurants, and you tend to get let off the hook there.
So you don't have the dreams about the digestive system, because it's such a temporary thing.
Exactly.
They're not too worried about it.
And you already know about it yourself.
You're getting mad at yourself as you're eating it.
No, you may as well enjoy it if you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
So is that how you eat chocolate?
Sometimes.
Okay, have we another dream?
Yeah, we have another one here. It's from Gloria. She says, I had a dream, and in my dream I was informed that my father had died and my mother is seriously sick.
Oh, okay, another really short one. Well, of course, that sounds like it's a prophetic dream, but it isn't. And how you tell is, if you have prophetic dreams, you have a feeling that goes across your waist the whole time during the dream. It's like you have a rubber band, but you only feel the front part of it on the front part of your body. So anybody who has a prophetic ability, when they have prophetic dreams, they can remember having this feeling. So if you don't have the feeling, then you just interpret it as a symbol, which is what this one is. If you do have the feeling, then you don't interpret it symbolically at all. So here, you look at the father dying. Funerals in a dream are actually a decent enough symbol. They're not, they're not a prediction. So it's saying that she needs to deal with issues around her dad in order to let some negative influence from her dad die. And that's all it's about. It's about the influence dying. So something she wants to do in life, she's not doing it now and holding herself back because of something about her dad. And it may not necessarily be that she has any big issues with her dad, but she might say, for instance, I don't want to move to another state because my dad is on in years and I want to be around him, and things like that. So it's not always you go, oh yeah, I did have a traumatic childhood, or my dad left the family when I was 7. That'd be an obvious thing. So it doesn't have to be something like that. But if it's in the dream, there is definitely something.
There's a tie to the father, at least.
There's definitely in that one. But the mother one is more interesting because the mother is sick and dying, presumably. Well, she's sick anyway. So this is saying you're not looking after your female side. So she's getting a shot with both barrels here. So she's not looking after her female energy. And I said in the affair segment, female energy and male energy, we're yin and yang. We have both energies and we have to look after both. So here it's telling her that she has to do both. And obviously something about her dad is also affects her female energy. But her mother being sick is showing that her female energy she's just not looking after it, and she needs to take care of it and nurse it back to the perfect health that it should be enjoying.
To create more balance in her life.
Well,
with the female and male energies.
I don't know.
Or is it just to
nurture
the female energy anyway?
Nurture the female energy. We should always have balance. That's always the case. We should always have balance in our lives. A balance between male and female energies. And most of us lean towards male energy because we push academic achievement in schools.
That's the energy that's rewarded in our society.
So intellectual prowess and all that, exactly. Because we're encouraged to develop that from a young age, like your kids are just entering school.
Yeah.
So from that age till 18, they're going to be told, constantly asked, how smart are you? Which is all male energy, not to be confused with men and women. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever. But intellectual prowess is male energy. So here it's saying that not here, but in general, we tend to, because we reward it for so long in childhood, we continue that pattern in later life. And it's why we have an awful lot of male energy illness like heart attack and stroke would be female energy issues, because we disregard that part of our nature. So we have Sally on the line calling from New York. Hello, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Hello.
How can we help you?
Well, I sent an email earlier today about a dream of mine. I don't think it worked, though, so I probably will have to send it back again. But I was wondering if Heidi could tell me anything about if I have any messages from a couple of friends of mine who died recently.
What is your friend's name? Did they die at the same time together?
The same year, 3 months apart.
3 months apart. Was this recently?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay. Can I just have one of their names and I'll connect with one of them? Amy. Was Amy in her 40s?
Excuse me?
Was Amy in her 40s when she passed?
No, she was 62.
62. Were either of them in their 40s when they passed?
No.
I'm being presented with someone in their 40s. Sometimes they do come through and they appear at a younger age as well. It's just to assure us that they're in a safe place.
Let me interject. Do you ask to make sure that you've got the right connection?
Yes, that's why I'm doing it, just to see, because the visual as well is what they're assuring you that it is them. So I'm trying to pick up on something to assure Sally that it's this actual being coming in.
I should.
Okay, so and I know we were talking about heart issues earlier, but so this particular female spirit that's come in, she's saying that she died of heart issues. So would that resonate with you?
No.
Okay. Do you know anybody who's passed with heart issues?
No, I don't think so.
That's interesting. Well, not that it's interesting, but you don't always get who you ask for when you're getting a reading. I don't always. My dad's always the one there deciding who's going to come through. But and I always find, well, I don't always find, but I find it interesting listening to people when they're trying to make the connections. I love to just show John Edwards, for instance, and you see people not getting it. So could it be someone else who's trying to get through for her?
It could be. I'm definitely getting a strong sense that this is Amy, though. When I say heart issues, I'm seeing like a blood clot that's formed in her heart and traveling through her body. So maybe it could be to indicate a sudden death, or a death that wasn't expected, or if it was expected, it was given a very short time between when she found out and when she passed.
That's correct.
Was it a stroke then?
Well, no, it was a brain tumor, and she was having it operated on, and they were expecting wonderful results. And a few days after the operation, they said it just didn't work, and put her in hospice. And 2 weeks later, she died.
Okay, yeah, and so the symbols they give me, I'm not hearing anything directly, but she's just showing this compassion and love. I don't know, did she have children herself, or was she living alone at the time?
She's single, no children.
Yeah, and so were you very close to her, like family?
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know that she had, because she's saying she doesn't have a lot of messages for people she's left behind. But I'm seeing there's some sort of, I'm not sure what this is, but there's some sort of pet that she's asking about.
A pet?
A pet? Like a dog?
A
dog?
No, cat. She was a cat person.
She was a cat person?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm seeing some sort of, did you take her cat?
No.
Do you know? So she's asking about the cat, and I'm not sure if she's worried about the cat or not. But I know I'm not hearing any messages. I'm just seeing her. She's not communicating with me verbally anyway.
And we talked about this before. Is there a reason why she wouldn't do that?
Sometimes, when they've passed on in 2 years, it is a significant amount of time, but there's still a lot of transition. And if she hasn't communicated with the earth plane since her passing, it can be difficult for them to verbally communicate. So what she's doing is she's communicating with my guides, and I'm sensing a lot of difficulty. She just keeps showing me images, which is why I'm trying to explain them.
Was she talking about a particular pet of mine or of hers?
Can you repeat that?
Was she talking about a particular pet of hers or mine?
I think it was her pet.
Okay.
She didn't organize what was going to be done with her pet, and that she was worried about it.
No, she didn't. She had quite a few at the end of her life.
Yeah, and so I think that was a worry for her.
Yeah, her sister took care of all of them.
Okay.
Wow. I don't know.
Well, that's Amy.
So she is here, and she is. You can talk to her yourself. I don't know if you are able to channel or anything, but certainly you can talk to her, and she does hear you.
Okay.
And why would she show up younger?
Usually because if they were sick, which she was at the end of their life, they want to show you that they're not suffering anymore.
Oh, back in their health.
Yes, they're back in a state of if there was a physical body, but they're back in a state of health and healing. They're healed is what they're trying to portray.
And any connection from the other person?
No, I'm not getting any. There's a lot of confusion going on with Amy trying to communicate. So it's I think this is her first time communicating with someone on the earth plane since she's passed, which is a really good thing because it's with you, and so you get.
So that will open up more communication, right?
Yes, but she has to be invited in. I think she was reluctant to before, as she was saying, she doesn't have a lot of people on the earth plane, no children or anything like that. So she doesn't have a lot of reason, is what she's saying.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll start talking to her.
Give her the reason.
Okay, and so for the dream that I sent an email for, I don't know, about 3 hours ago, did that come through? I don't know that it worked.
I don't think I saw one, but the email address is radioshow@dream-analysis.com. So if you want to just grab the email and resend it,
all right.
that would be the best. We don't have the time to do it live right now, which is something we do love to do.
Okay.
So if you have problems, you could always call us with the dream first thing next Thursday.
Well, I'll send it because I think I can describe it better by word.
Perfect. Okay.
I mean by the written word, not speaking word.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right.
Thanks for your call.
Well, thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
So that's going to be our show. Remember to check out the course online. Go to dream-analysis.com. Thanks to our producer and engineer, Eric Ryder. Thanks to Heidi Brooke. And until next week, we're going to leave you with this quote. The fact that you aren't where you want to be should be motivation enough. See you next week.